whatever you want.
No, because we have a discussion period.
A disgusting?
Yeah, start?
Yep.
Okay. On January 1st, 1886, the master felt better and expressed a desire to walk in the garden for a short while. Because it was a holiday, the household of devotees began arriving at the Kosipur garden after midday, and individually and in groups. The master came down from upstairs at 3 p.m. There were more than 30 people talking amongst themselves inside the house and sitting under the trees in the garden. They all stood reverently and bowed down when they saw him. The master went out through the western door of the hall, descended onto the garden path, and proceeded slowly southward to the gate. The devotees followed him at a little distance. When he reached the midpoint of the path between the house and the gate, the master saw Grish, Ram, Atul, and a few others under a tree on the west side of the path. They bowed down to him and came to him joyfully. Before anyone had spoken a word, the master addressed Girish, asking him, Girish, what have you seen and understood about me that makes you say all these things, that I'm an avatar and so on, to everyone? Wherever you go, unperturbed. Girish knelt down at the master's feet, folded his hands before his raised face, and responded in a voice choked with emotion. What more can I say of him? Even the sages Vyasa and Valmiki could find no words to measure his glory. Girish's sincere faith expressed in those words so moved the master that he said to the devotees while looking at Girish, what more need I tell you? I bless you all. May you all be illumined. He became overwhelmed by love and compassion for his devotees and went into ecstasy uttering those few words. The selfless and profound blessing touched the devotees deep within their hearts, and they became mad with joy. They forgot time and space. They forgot the master's illness. They forgot that they had vowed not to touch the master until his recovery. They saw that a wonderful divine being had come down to them from heaven and was calling to them affectionately. They also felt that their suffering grieved him, and he was carrying in his heart an infinite pain and compassion for them, offering them shelter as selflessly as a loving mother. They became anxious to bow down to him and take the dust of his feet. Their cries of victory to Ramakrishna resounded in all directions as one by one they bowed down to him. As they touched his feet, the ocean of the master's compassion burst through all bounds, and created an astonishing phenomena. Almost every day in Dakshinasvar, we had seen the master become overwhelmed with compassion and grace and bless some devotees with his powerful divine touch. On this day, he remained in a semi-ecstatic mood. He began to touch each devotee present in a similar way, and their joy was boundless. The devotees understood that from this day on, the master would no longer conceal his divinity from them or from anyone else in the world. They had no doubt that from now on, all sinners and sufferers, despite their shortcomings, lack of spirituality, and feelings of inadequacy, would find shelter at his blessed feet. Seeing the master in that unique and exalted state, some became speechless and could only watch him as if bewitched. Some called out loudly to everyone inside the house to come and be blessed by the master's grace. Others picked up flowers from the garden and began to worship him, uttering mantras and showering him with flowers. When the master's ecstasy came to an end after some time, the devotees calmed down. The master finished his walk in the garden, then returned to the house and sat down in his room. Ramachandra and some devotees had said on that day the master became the Kalpataru, the wish-fulfilling tree. But we think it is more reasonable to describe the event as a manifestation of the master's fearless divine nature, or to say that he revealed himself on that day, granting fearlessness to all. It is said that the Kalpataru gives people whatever they ask for, good or bad. But the Master did not do that. By this event, he let me know clearly that he was a God-man, and that he offered shelter from fear to all without discrimination. At any rate, Haran Chandradas is worthy to be mentioned amongst those who were blessed with the Master's grace that day. As soon as Haran bowed down to the Master placed his foot on Haran's head. Seldom did the Master bestow his grace in this way. Ramlal Chattopadhyay, a nephew of the Master, was also present on that occasion and received his grace. When asked about his experience, Ramlal said, "Before this, when I meditated, I could see only part of my chosen deity with my mind's eye. When I saw his feet, I couldn't see his face. When I saw his form from his face to his waist, I couldn't see his feet. Moreover, whatever I saw never seemed to be alive, but no sooner had the Master touched me that day, and the whole form of my chosen deity appeared in my heart as a living presence, benign and effulgent." We remember 9 or 10 devotees who were present on that day. Girish, Atul, Ram, Navagopal, Hara Mohan, Vaikuntha, Kishore, Haran, Ramlal, and Akshay. Vendranath Gupta, the recorder of the Gospel of Ramakrishna, may also have been present. But amazingly, none of the Master's would-be monastic disciples were there at the time. The night before, Narendra and some other disciples had been engaged in sadhana. In addition to serving the Master, so they were tired and were sleeping in their room. Latu and Surat, the author, were awake and saw the whole affair from the roof of the Master's room, but did not feel any urge to go there. As soon as the Master had left for his walk, they had taken the opportunity to clean the Master's room and put his mattress and pillow on the roof to be sunned. Because they did not want to inconvenience the Master by leaving their work unfinished, they felt no inclination to go there. We interviewed several devotees who were present on that occasion about their experiences. We should conclude this subject by recording what Vaikuntha told us. Vaikuntha met the Master about the same time that we did. We have recorded some stories in this book about how the Master gave him instructions and formed his spiritual life. The Master initiated Vaikuntha with a mantra and blessed him. He then only practiced sadhana and tried his utmost to have a vision of his chosen deity. He understood that he would not succeed without the Master's grace, so from time to time he verbally prayed to the Master. When the Master became ill, he had to move to Calcutta and then to Kosipur for treatment. Vaikuntha had the opportunity to ask him 2 or 3 times to fulfill his heart's desire. The Master smiled graciously and reassured him, saying, "Wait a little. Let my disease be cured. Afterwards I shall do everything for you." Vaikuntha was present when the events of January 1st took place. After the Master had blessed 2 or 3 devotees with his powerful divine touch, Vaikuntha went before him, reverently bowed down and implored, "Sir, please bestow your grace on me." The Master answered, "You've achieved everything." Vaikuntha said, "Sir, when you say I've achieved everything, it must be so. Kindly help me so that I can understand a little." The Master said, "All right," and then gently touched his chest for a moment. Vaikuntha described it thus: "Consequently, a wonderful change came across my mind. I began to see the Master's gracious, smiling and luminous form in the sky, the houses, the trees, all human beings, and everything else I saw in all directions. I was overwhelmed with extreme bliss. At that time I saw you, both, the author and Latu, on the roof, called to you loudly, 'Oh, you, wherever you are, come here right now.' That spiritual mood and vision continued for some days, even in the waking state. I was amazed and spellbound by seeing the Master in all things. This experience remained whether I went to the office or elsewhere on business. My work suffered because I couldn't concentrate on my regular duties. When I realized this, I tried unsuccessfully to stop the vision for a while. I now understood a little why Arjuna was afraid when he had the vision of the cosmic form of Lord Krishna, and why he prayed to Krishna to withdraw it. I remember that the scriptures and liberated souls dwelt in the same exalted state of consciousness. I now got a little glimpse from this experience of how much desirelessness is necessary for a person to remain continuously in that state. Hardly had a few days passed when I was overwhelmed by this continuous vision and spiritual mood. I found it difficult to function. Sometimes I thought, should I lose my mind? At last I prayed to the Master fearfully, "O Lord, I'm not able to contain this spiritual fervor. Please release me from this state. Woe to human weakness and stupidity." Now I think, why did I pray that way? Why didn't I have faith in him and wait patiently to see what the ultimate result would be? I might have become mad, or my body might have dropped away. Soon after that, my prayer, my vision and spiritual mood abruptly came to an end. I was fully convinced that my experience came to an end by the same person from whom I had received it. But perhaps because the complete cessation of that vision didn't arise in my mind as I prayed, he kindly kept a little of that experience in me. I could see that a divine, effulgent, gracious form of the Master several times a day was overwhelmed with joy and blessedness. That ends our reading of this. This Kalpataru garden, the tree is down below there and stuff like that. It's a little bit west of the main door and stuff like that. But even now, on January 1st, a lot of people go there. A lot of people go there and hang out, and looking here and there and stuff like that. But I think it's very important, this incident, because it shows the yoga shakti of an avatar, what power they have. What power they have. Just by their mind or a touch, they can transform people and situations and stuff like that. And I think it's very, very important to realize that this is not ended. People go to the Kalpataru Gardens now and they hang around that tree and look there. They're waiting for the Master to come from the sky or come from the house. This sort of thing. But the power, that yoga shakti, is within us. It's there always, manifested. We have to uncover it. We have to remove the dirt, the dust from the mirror to see what's going on and stuff like that. And I think so. It's there, but we don't have it. But we can get it anytime. Here, in Bombay, and in Detroit, wherever, anywhere in the world, that same yoga shakti is within us. Always there. Always there. But just because of our attachments and aversions and our clinging to ignorance, it doesn't manifest itself and so on. So I think it's important to realize that this is it's a one-day event. That's why we celebrate it. And we try to honor it, but it's there all the time. It's there all the time for all of us. It's just a matter of manifestation, uncovering the mirror by dust. Fire by smoke is a mirror by dust, unborn babe by the womb. Like managed knowledge covered by ignorance. We have to cover this. If we look at Latu, Swami Adbhutananda and Swami Sardananda, they were up on the roof there doing their work. I did some research, and later on they said, "Why didn't you come? Why didn't you come?" They said, "We were full. We were completely full, so they didn't have to come. They already had it there and stuff like that." How's that saying go? Purna, Purnamada? Rajapurna?
What's that, Purna?
Purna. How's that go?
Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnamudachyate.
Okay, so that fullness is there, and they were experiencing it, so it was not necessary to go down there and stuff like that. And I think that's true for all of us. It's true for all of it. It's there, but we're tied up with these desires, aversions, our bodily cares, and so on like this. And we don't get it because of that, because of our mind. The mind holds back everything and stuff like that. So I think this is a very significant day in the life of Ramakrishna. There were other examples too of his yoga shakti, his avatar shakti. I don't know if you know who Golap Ma is. Golap Ma was a very close disciple of Holy Mother. She'd been going through terrible grief. Her daughter died. First her husband died, then her daughter died. And she just adored this daughter. It was her only daughter, and then the daughter died. And she became mad with grief, as it were. And she couldn't function. She was just terrible. And Yogan Ma, another disciple of Holy Mother Ramakrishna, she took her to visit Ramakrishna. Now this is a woman who just overwhelmed with grief, sorrow, misery, everything. And she walked in the room, and Ramakrishna put his hand on her head. And immediately, all the grief disappeared. And she had a jnana experience. She felt Why am I grieving? With a child, I had little dolls. Now I have a daughter. It's all the same, all the same. She's been very calm and very dedicated. And I think that stayed with her the rest of her life, actually, because she never went back to the grief and stuff. But that power's there. That power's there. It's not only this incident, there are other instances too, when this takes place, but it's within us all the time anyway. That power is within us. And it's for us to uncover it and bring it forth. Not easy. It takes many lives sometimes, but it's not easy. But it's there. And for us to uncover that, we get our own Shakti experience, Yoga Shakti experience, Avatar Shakti, stuff like that. Any questions? Pavitra? Yes? Yeah. So that's why we celebrate this. It's one incident, but it's an indication of the power of this person who came and lived with us, and living within our hearts now. What's the Gita say? He who knows that I am unborn and without a beginning, he is free from all sins. So the Master's dwelling within us, this reality, this essence of consciousness, this immortal bliss is within us. And so we have to remove the covering, and it will manifest itself. We can have these same experiences. They're rare, though. I mean, I haven't found many people who are completely intoxicated. They see Ramakrishna everywhere 24 hours a day. But it's there and stuff like that. And it's up to us. And we're lucky. We have a human birth. We've come in contact with Vedanta. Many of us are initiated disciples. And it's up to us to uncover that Yoga Shakti, that yoga power. Always there.
I have a question, Stephen.
Population of Fiji?
You have a very long history of meditation practice. How did you keep it up all these years without giving up?
Well, Swami Shivananda, he says the secret of spiritual realization is steady practice with patience. Steady practice with patience. So I remind myself of that. And it's because what I want. What I want is this elevated consciousness within me. I want to awake this kundalini within me and stuff like that. So that is, Shivananda says, steady practice with patience is the secret of spiritual realization. And that's really true, really true. These people were no joke. And so I stuck with it that way. Also, that's one of my good points of my nature. I stick to things. I have bad points. I have many weaknesses and made many mistakes in my life. And so I feel that this is... But for most of us, we meditate, we struggle, we make an effort. We say, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. Oh, I'm worse than when I started, or as bad as when I started, So but then later on, we come across a situation and we find that I'm not so bad. I'm making progress here and stuff like that. It's very important. Also, I had a spiritual experience before I came to Vedanta, actually, and that always inspires me, keeps me going and stuff like that, And so that's part of it. But why I keep it up is because of Swami Shivananda says, steady practice with patience. I sit down, I do my japa as best I can, bring my mind back and back again to the chosen ideal within, try. And I do that, and that's why I'm able to keep it up, because I realize that there is something there. And these people, they aren't like ordinary people. Sheshananda used to told me one time, he used to live he lived at Udbodhan, and he would go across the city early in the morning to meditate with Maharaj at Bellarmont. He says, I went there. Now, getting around Bellarmont, it wasn't so bad those days, but it's still a bit of a distance. And he went there, and he said that as soon as you sat with Maharaj, you immediately had deep meditation. Immediately had deep meditation. That's very rare, you see. But so that's there, and I'm hoping to eventually. I'm happy with my spiritual life. I'm not a lumen soul by any means. I have many faults. I speak too fast. I speak too loud. But I'm very happy with what I've done with my life. I'm very happy now with what I've done with my life and what I've done. You see, what I feel is I'm going to death with a full effort, a full plate. I've done the full load. I've done my best. Done my best. Again, many mistakes, many shortcomings, no doubt about it. But I feel very happy with what I've done with my life, what I'm doing inside, and stuff like that. I went to my 50th high school reunion. And my high school time was not a happy time for me. I was a restless fool. Not a happy time for me. My own fault, 100%. But when I was there at the reunion, I couldn't see one person that I envied or I would rather trade places with. Not one. I felt what I was doing with my life was very important. And other things were not that important. I really felt I'd done something. That's why I'm able to stay with it. Because again, it's not like I'm having visions every day and stuff like that. But I feel that what I'm doing is good. It's leading me to the highest good and stuff like that. Victor, any questions? Why not? Are you like Sardanan and Lato Maharaj, full to the brim?
I'm feeling deeply inspired.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah. Well, I just quote these people. That's why it's there and stuff like that. So this Ramakrishna, this Kalpataru Day is every day. It's within us, all the time. It's for us to manifest itself and bring it out and stuff like that, you know? And uncover it, as it were. Fire by smoke, as a mirror by dust, unborn babe by the womb, and like managed knowledge covered by ignorance. So every day we can struggle towards that goal. And that struggle is the highest thing we can do in this life. That's my opinion. That struggle, we may think, oh, I'm not doing very well. My mind is no better than now when I start. But actually that struggle on the deeper levels of our mind is doing wonderful things. It's creating wonderful things and stuff like that. And I firmly believe that these samskaras, these impressions in the mind, at the time of death will manifest themselves and lead me or anybody to a very high realm, just steady practice. So Swami Shivananda says steady practice with patience is the secret of spiritual realization. It may not see on the surface, we don't see it. But underneath, it's there. And we're all doing really, really good, I think. That's my opinion, stuff like that. Any comments, Pravitra? Okay, any other questions? Any money for the speaker? I heard the new Secretary of the Treasury, she made $7 million speaking to groups. Well, I'll take $7 million. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Take it with you.
Yeah. Well, I can't. That's the trouble. I've already got. That's all planned anyway. It's all planned what to do with that and stuff like that. But and this sort of thing, this practice, this reading about these things and thinking about them, helps us a great deal. We tend to think, oh, this life is the only thing, but infinite lives we've had. Many, many lives. Many a life have I lived, and so have you. I know them all, O Arjuna, but you know them not. So we don't remember our past life. What a mess it would be. If we walked around, oh, I was a king. What are you talking to me like that? You know, or I was a warrior. You killed me in my last life, sort of thing. You know, so like that. So it's a great privilege for us, I think, as human beings. I feel very blessed, and I often put a big question mark to myself. How did I end up like this? Look where I live. Look who I live with, you see? I scratch my head. What did I do to deserve all this and stuff like that? Well, something I did. I did something, obviously. And I feel very, very happy in my struggles. My struggle. Every day I struggle. Sometimes not so good. I mean, I remember one time I went to a party the night before, and I drank a bit, and so the next morning, before I was going to work at the post, it was like 4:30 in the morning. I was burping champagne. I could taste the champagne and stuff like that. But I feel sad about my mistakes, but all my mistakes have led me to be a better person. They've turned to be blessings. And so I've got some bad ones too. I was a pretty naughty little boy. And so that's where I stand.
Stephen, you're one of the few people who are remain with us. They're disciples of Swami Vivedishananda. Very few people have even heard of him. Can you tell us just a little about him or something you remember?
About him?
Yeah, something that made an impression.
Did you ever meet Swami Bhutushananda?
Mutation
Bhutushananda. Did you meet him?
Sure, he came here.
Yeah. Do you remember him? Remember how there was a steadiness underneath him? He was there, but there was like a rock of steadiness behind his consciousness. Vivedishananda was the same way. Vivedishananda, he was a great soul. He had a great soul, and it was. I'll give you a couple examples here. One day I was Manishananda, now Swami Manishananda. He was Jim Austin then. He and I were living at the center at the same time. He came about a month after me, and we became good friends. We'd go out and meditate in the morning in Brahmananda Hall, then have a quick breakfast, go rush to go change our clothes and go catch the bus to go to work. I remember one day, there was 3 stories at the Vedanta Center, and the second story was Swami Vivedishananda's room and area. And the monks, we lived upstairs. The men devotees lived upstairs. I remember one day walking upstairs there, and as I got to the second floor where Vivedishananda was, there was a tremendous stillness. Everything was still. You know, it was like everything was still, you know. And so I had to go to work, so I kept going upstairs and changed my clothes, got ready. Came down about 15, 20 minutes later. That same stillness was there. Unbelievable. The same stillness was there. It was like everything was still. And so that was a very interesting person. Another time, we were having lunch. We'd eat lunch on Sundays together quite often. And so I went up to Vivedishananda's room after the lecture, waiting for lunch, to ask him something. I don't remember exactly what it was. I went into his room, and he was in his chair, just lost in a cloud of light. It was very visible, tangible light, you know. Of course, I backed out very quietly, you know, and not to disturb him and stuff like that. And I went back downstairs. And later he came down as if nothing had happened. Just the same quiet Swami he was. You know, for us, we'd be like these guys. These people here in Kalpataru Day, we'd jump around. Yeah, come. But for him, it was very steady and stuff like that, you know. It's a very deep soul. Another time, he had bad eyesight, so we would read to him and stuff. And one time I was reading to him in the kitchen, reading the Gospel of Ramakrishna, and he was just sitting there quietly, you know, and then he said, afterwards, said, Stephen, experience the ecstasy of oneness with God. In other words, samadhi, you see. He said that. Here I was just there, just right across the table from him. I was in my normal consciousness, and he'd had this deep experience, you see. But again, on the surface there was very little activity. It was always within him and stuff like that. He was a great soul. All the senior swamis that came, those original senior swamis, they're extraordinary souls. You won't find those type of people rarely. We have great souls now in the Vedanta Society, the Ramakrishna Mission. But that group that came, my feeling is they were born for that purpose. Vivedishananda was born in 1893. It tells you something there. And they were all great souls. They were here for a purpose. They were here for a great purpose to establish this work. Now we look at it, we say, oh, the temple's half empty, you know, and we have this problem and that problem and stuff like that. But this is a great work. This is just beginning. He told me that I would see a lot. He said, this is the early stages now. But I would see a lot before I die. Maybe pretty soon, I guess. I don't know. But so this work that they establish here will grow. Remember, what Ramakrishna, 1886 he died. Oh, less than 200 years, you see. Where was Christianity after 200 years of Christ? You see? They were getting persecuted, little group here, little group there. We're growing slowly and steadily. And I feel lucky to be part of this. I won't see the end result, but, well, I may, who knows. But, well, not in the physical body. But the thing is, these swamis that came, they were extraordinary souls. They were chosen. That's my opinion. They're all chosen. They were not just ordinary souls. They were born for this purpose to establish this work and stuff like that. And they've done a great thing. I know I'm a little bit perhaps prejudiced, but I think there's no movement like this Vedanta movement. I really do. I found we have the scriptures, we have the teachers, we have people who are actively trying to pursue it, and some are succeeding. Some are doing very well. And I really feel how lucky I am to be part of this struggle to come up and stuff like that. Vividishna, I didn't understand him or appreciate him, okay? I didn't understand him or appreciate him. I was living in Hawaii when I met him, and then next year he came, I took initiation, and then I graduated, University of Hawaii, 1970. And I had to work as a conscientious objector for 2 years. So he asked me to come to Seattle, and I didn't want to come. I was vehemently against it. I didn't want to come. I said, no, my whole life there where I was, like all my dreams had come true. Everything I'd hoped for, even as a young teenage boy, it all come true. Even the color of the house was what I dreamed of, It was unbelievable. And I felt, I didn't want to leave this. Now I realize it was very shallow of me and very stupid. And then Minnie Morozi came to me. She was Mr. Eli and Minnie Morozi who kind of ran the center there. They were great souls. They were really great souls. And she came and told me that Vividishna told me that he felt like he was grasping at a straw, a drowning man grasping at a straw. He had one monk living who was a little unstable, and he didn't know what his situation would be. He felt he was going to be caught alone. So he told Minnie that I feel like I'm grasping, a drowning man grasping at a straw. As soon as she said that, I changed my mind. I said, I'm coming. I went and told him, I'm coming. Reluctantly, with a chip in my shoulder. But now I realize that what I was doing would not last. It would have ended. I felt Swami Brahmananda it would have all ended and stuff like that, you see. But going there, I was introduced to the Pacific Northwest and a chance to live with a soul like him. Again, my family was from that area. My mother and father met in the University District, got married there. And so it was a chance to go and experience the Pacific Northwest. I mean, I used to go pick apples in eastern Washington, much to the chagrin of the center. They didn't like me taking off for 2 or 3 weeks like that. But I realize now it would have never lasted, and I was able to gain some wide experience. And then I went to the University of Washington. When I finished my conscious objective service, Manisha and I finished about the same time. He came a month after me, and our paths followed. He wanted to become a monk. He became a monk. And Swami asked me to join. I said, no, I don't want to join. Because I knew I wouldn't fit in. I knew that, I'm just not good with authority. And so I knew I wouldn't fit in. And a matter of time, I would start arguing and find a reason. And then, once you lose faith in your guru, you're lost. You're lost, you see. But I came there and stayed there in Manishananda. And I went to the University of Washington. So I got a master's degree in art history. And I feel now that what I did was the right thing. In Fiji, too, they asked me to join. The Motorana wanted me to join. He wanted me to join and then dress like Mahayogananda. Live all the time like that. I wasn't going to do that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't understand all that sort of stuff. Well, that's what his idea was, And I told him no also. But you see, you have to look at your temperament. My temperament is a bit individualistic. I'm independent. From childhood, I've had a disagreement with authority and doing it in my own way, and had some karma to work out. But I feel I made the right decisions. And even after this, when I finished my master's degree, I thought to myself, okay, this is absolutely useless. I really enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it, but it's absolutely no use for my life, But But actually, it turned out to be really good. First off, in Fiji, they paid me more because I had a master's degree. I got like $100 more a month or something like that. And big deal. I got $700 a month after 8 years there. And I felt that it was going there and working there and stuff like that was very, very important. Very, very important. And even now I'm glad I didn't join, you know. I mean, please excuse me, but when I go into Hollywood and other places like that, I see the monks there and I don't envy them. They may be far advanced from me, they may be much serener than me and stuff like that. But I don't feel like, oh, I made a terrible mistake. I feel like I'm doing all right. And I'm able to give service here. You know, I'm able to help work here and stuff like that. We planted a bunch of tulips today. We're losing our people. I'm putting them to sleep. So I feel very happy. And the reason why I've stuck with it is because I can see the change in me. My father, I lived in Seattle at the Vedanta Center. I lived in Fiji for 8 years at a school called Vivekananda High School, lived at the ashram, and I came back here and got involved here very closely. I asked him one time, I said, Dad, you never asked me, what's this all about? He wouldn't know Ramakrishna. He didn't know Ramakrishna's name or Holy Mother. He knew nothing about them. He'd come to lectures once in a while. I'd come up here, but he really didn't know anything. And I asked him, Dad, why don't you ever ask me about this? He said, I didn't need to. I saw the change in you, so I knew it was a good thing. It was a good thing. And he was right. He was right. It transformed my personality. And I'm still working on it. I got a ways to go. Any questions, Pavitra? No questions? The other ones are leaving, so you can leave too, I guess. We're losing all our audience. Put them to sleep. But I feel the greatest thing in my life is Vedanta. It's been a mainstay of my life, you know. And it's been a tremendous thing for me. Tremendous thing. I'm very pleased that I got involved with this society and this philosophy. I had a spiritual experience before I came to Vedanta. In San Diego, actually. And you might say I had two, at least one though for sure. And I had that experience, and I told Eli Morozi and I told Swami Vivedishan, he said it was a genuine experience, you see. But and since then I've just been enthusiastic about this movement. That was before initiation, before I knew who Ramakrishna Holy Mother was, all these sort of things. I didn't know any of this stuff. I remember the first time I came to the temple was 68. Spring of 68. And then I came to Swami Vandananda was speaking, and I came here. And when I went out, I bought a book, Swami Premanand, Swami Premanand's teachings, a little white book with green cover, green rim on the cover. And I was reading it, and he said, oh, read Ramakrishna Gospel, sing the song. And I said, who's Ramakrishna? Who are all these? I had no idea who they were, you see. But there were some gems in there which helped me a lot. And even today, there's a prayer there that I picked up, and I still say it today before I start my meditation. Every day, the first thing I do is that prayer. And I haven't realized it yet, but I'm working on it. Any questions, Pavitra? Comments?
Sure. What would you say is the one thing that you've heard in your life that impressed you the most?
That's hard to say. That's an interesting question. Impressed me the most. Well?
Inspired you the most?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Good comment there. Well, I can't say just one thing. I can't just say one thing. But I think my initiation. I had a very strong desire for initiation. I wanted something I could focus my attention on. Something I could devote my life to. That's what I was looking for. And the mantra was that, you see, and the mantra came. So I would say my mantra, being initiated. He told me when I got initiated, he says, you've got good karma. To come here is good karma and stuff like that, you know. And I stuck it out. I stuck it out in not always ideal circumstances, definitely not always ideal devotee, but just steady practice with patience. I feel I'm doing okay. I really feel like I'm doing okay. I have no fear of death. I mean, physical suffering, I don't want physical suffering, but I really have no fear of death. To me, it's an opportunity. It's like a training I've been working at. And I'm working at it now. And this is what I feel. This is what I feel. And this Kalpataru Day, this yoga Shakti, this avatar Shakti, is within me. And I struggle every day to unfold that. I manifest it, stuff like that. And that's where I stand. Again, I don't make any claims to being a great soul or I'm better than him, I'm better than her. No, I don't say that at all. But I'm happy I've been given propitious circumstances for struggling, meditating. My room, ideal place for meditating. The only place I found better is Ramakrishna's room. His room was better. But even his room is very noisy now. People come and go. Well, it wasn't that before, but there is now. It's going to get worse too, of course. It's very hard to meditate there. But I had good meditation there, and real good meditation there. But my room, where I am, I really like it. That little corner I got for meditation, I really care for it a lot, stuff like that. Really care for it. Any more questions, Pravitra? No? Amazing. You're like Sardan Latuman. I'm full. To me, it's an opportunity. I got this opportunity. Again, I was a bad person. I think I'm a Bhairava from Shiva's realm. Red face, red eyes, enthusiasm towards this practice and stuff like that, I don't know, but I'm guessing that, you see. And so naturally I got in some trouble once in a while. And I feel this has given me a chance to make some progress along these lines and stuff like that. I'm very happy with what I've done with my life. Very happy. Very, very happy. Like I say, I went to my high school reunion, I didn't see one person there who I envied. I wish I'd done this in my life. I wish I'd done that sort of thing, No. I feel very happy that what I've struggled and still struggling, stuff like that. And I hope to continue till the day I die, if my mind is okay at that time. And look at the company I've got. I mean, I scratch my head sometimes and say, look at people I'm surrounded by, a convent, you see, very loving, kind sisters and members here. And they treat me nicely. Well, sometimes they treat me nicely. But that's the way it stands there, you see. And I really feel lucky, blessed, as it were. But now it's karma somehow. How I got this karma, I'll never know. I really and truly will never know how. Later when I die, perhaps I'll understand. But my only worry now is that when I die, I won't get sidetracked. See, we had many, many lives. We've been this realm, that realm, and stuff like that, And a person like me, I may have been a leader in some realm and stuff like that, you see. And so I'm afraid when I die, I go by that, I'm going to be drawn to that. And once I'm drawn to there, I'm stuck, you see. So that way I'm hoping to be able to transcend all that, go beyond that, go forward. So I told Dhammi Damodarananda in Bellarmine, he and I lived together for 7 years in Fiji. He was a great soul, very pure soul. And I told him when I left, last time I'm going to see you, Swami. You were at the old monastery of Bellarmine there. He said, yes. I said, I'll see you, next time we see each other, it'll be Ramakrishna Loka. He said, yes. He died a few months later after that. He died a few months later and stuff like that. He was another interesting soul. Any more questions, Pravitra? No? Okay, so I guess we could stop now?
Good
Sorry.
reading, Steve.
Huh?
Good reading, a little fast.
Too fast? Well, she didn't raise her hand.
I phrased it so many times.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I really did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because that's one of my faults. No, I'm always in a hurry. And I want to get things done. And I talk too fast, too loud, all these things, stuff like that. So I'm sorry. I mean, I would have slowed down.
Well, thank you, Stephen.
Yeah. But this is a great incident. It's a tremendous incident. This Yoga Shakti that came here, He manifested, and these people were all lifted up. The other ones too. He went to this, was it Panihati? He went there and with Hridoy, and the people were hanging from the trees to see him and stuff like that. He was just absorbed, And he was, the people were hanging there waiting to see him. Hriday says, have we never seen kirtan before, sort of like this. But it was something extraordinary. To come in contact with this Ramakrishna Vivekananda Holy Mother. Let me tell you one other story, a little incident here. I was living in San Diego. 1968, I moved to San Diego. And there was a bookstore there. I forget the name of the bookstore, but it was a real cool bookstore. They had comfortable chairs. They let you sit and read and stuff like that. And I saw Thus Spake Holy Mother. Thus Spake Holy. And immediately I saw her picture there. I knew that was the woman I was looking for. You know how you're always looking for somebody special. You're hoping to find that special person. I realized that's the person I'm looking for. Now this is my personality. I was so stingy I didn't buy the book. But I realize now if I'd bought the book, I would have come in contact with the Hollywood Vedanta Center and in Tribuco or something like that. But my goal was to help Vivedishananda in Seattle and Rudra. When I went to Rudra, he lived like 30 years by himself. When I came, I was the first person. People were amazed that this white guy came and moved in with him there. But I feel now that, and then coming here, I think I've been of very use here, you see. Very good use here. Let me tell you one more story, okay? So when I came here, I was doing different work and stuff like that. And we were doing the temple at that time. Parvati was here, and she was in charge. So she had me strip all the railings and strip everything down and repaint the temple. I was working hard, and I didn't have a job, so I'd work these part-time jobs with Work Incorporated, whatever it was. And I'd work for a couple of days and come back here and work. And it went on, and I couldn't get an interview for a job. I tried and tried. I couldn't get a job. I mean, I've got a master's degree in art history, and I went for jobs which required a bachelor's degree, and I couldn't get an interview. I called the department at UCSB. I said, what's going on? Why is this? He said, well, we'll look into it. But immediately, when I finished the temple, when that was finished, I got a job. I was not called production scheduler or something like that. And, it was something I wasn't qualified for. I remember going for the interview. I said, what is your goal? I said, I want to be a good person. I don't know what he thought of all that. But it was like this. But I got this job. But it was like when I finished the temple, the Divine Mother freed me for a job, and I got an interview and a job shortly after that. I got a job and stuff like that. So it was all divine play. Now I understand. I understand what it was. And so at the time, it was very frustrating. I was trying to get jobs. I couldn't get interviews, and it was very frustrating. I didn't get unemployment, but I was working these temporary jobs, and I remember one day I came home. One job was cleaning this place. I was so dirty when I came home. I blew my nose. This dirt came out. This place I cleaned up and stuff like that. But once the temple was done, I got this job, and then gradually, slowly, another job. Then I ended up at the post office, 23 years. And that worked out pretty good. I used to like the walking, and I used to enjoy the walking and stuff like that. But once the temple was done, it's like she cut me loose. Okay, go ahead. And almost immediately, a couple of days later, I got this job offer. And I was down called Iris Arc down there they were on, I guess it was Santa Barbara Street at that time. But I went there and got the job and stuff like that. And so that's where I stood. But I feel like the Divine Mother's involved in my life. I feel like Holy Mother is there behind me, protecting me. I feel like I'm being protected. Look at the care I get, Here I'm an old surfer bachelor, living in a little place here, and I'm surrounded by loving nuns, really caring, decent nuns, good people. Surrounded by good people and stuff like that. That's not a rare thing. My old roommate in college, he's in Thailand. He's not surrounded by nuns, I tell you that. He drinks a lot, and he visits ladies of ill repute and so on like that, But he's always been kind of a wayward person and stuff like that. But I feel very lucky, that I've got you people in my life, and hopefully in my death too. We'll see how things go. We don't know, you see. We don't know. Okay, any questions from the peanut gallery? No.
Okay. Thank you.
You want to know what Pavitra says? Pavitra, he wants to know what you say.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So next year, I may not be available for this. I would suggest get Vimal.